In this module, we'll review the Apigee Edge policies that can help you protect against content-based attacks. What do we mean when we say content-based attacks? We're talking about a malicious API consumer that uses the HTTP request to send content that could negatively impact your backend services, things like SQL or JavaScript injection attacks. We'll review policies for JSON and XML payloads, as well as some general options that can be applied to the request not dependent on the content type. With both JSON and XML payloads, we are talking about attacks that intend to overwhelm the parser and crash the service, effectively creating an application-level denial of service. To help protect against this, Apigee Edge offers both JSON and XML threat protection policies. Beyond the JSON and XML specific threats, there is a potential for content-based attacks through malicious content in HTTP headers, query parameters, or the request payload that are attempting to execute code. To help protect against these, you can leverage the regular expression protection policy. Let's dig into these policies. Starting with the JSON threat protection policy, this policy allows you to specify limits on the different JSON structures, things like the maximum number of elements in an array or the maximum length of a string. The goal here is to check that the payload is within these parameters before passing along the request to be parsed downstream. The actual limits you implement will be specific to your requirements and the targets. You can watch for errors associated to this policy and calibrate your policy over time if needed. Apigee Edge has similar functionality if your content is XML instead of JSON. The XML threat protection policy allows you to set limits on the XML structure beyond what is specified in the schema, things like node depth and attribute counts. Now, for content outside of the request body, or for other types of attacks, we'll look at the regular expression protection policy. The regular expression protection policy helps to protect against content-based attacks focused on areas like HTTP headers, query parameters, or the request body, where the attacker is looking to execute code, like a SQL injection attack. This policy allows you to specify regular expressions for the message to be evaluated against. You can determine which parts of the request should be evaluated against which regular expressions. You'll have granular access to different parts of the request, like the path, query or form parameters, HTTP headers, flow variables, and the request body. If any of your regular expressions evaluate to true, the policy will result in a fault and you can stop processing the request. Here is a list of example blacklist patterns that can be implemented in the regular expression protection policy. This list is not exhaustive and threats are constantly being discovered. You will likely involve your security team to determine which regular expressions to implement based on your specific attack vectors. You should now have a good idea of how Apigee Edge can be leveraged to help you protect against content-based attacks. As the API engineer, you should feel empowered to raise content-based attack concerns if you don't see them accounted for in the API design. If you have any questions, please ask them in our community. You can also visit our documentation site for more detailed information. Thanks.